Welcome to The Night is Dark, a podcast. This is a video and audio podcast where we dissect, divulge, and pick apart the Game of Thrones Season 5 episodes. What up? My name is Maude Garrett. I'm joined by other Game of Thrones experts, fanboys, and fangirls. Hey there, Tiffany Smith, Ken Napzok.
Hey,
everybody. You guys are watching us live right now on live stream. Make sure you're in the chat room because we are going to be checking out some of your comments, your posts on Twitter as well. And then after the show, if you're not watching live, you can obviously watch the video. It will be on YouTube, on Geek Bomb. And then obviously the audio as well will be on the Napzok Files. You can get it on iTunes, Stitcher, or Podomatic. And then I'll have the bonus video, which last week we did the top 3 deaths that we thought may be coming this season. So you'll have to see what we post this week.
there's a lot there. And also, we're going to take your questions at the end of this show. So you can do that by going onto Twitter, to our Twitter pages, at Maude Garrett, at Tiffany's Tweets, at Ken Napzok. And you can do the hashtag The Night is Dark, and we will find you. And it is full of candles. And we will find those questions. And we've already got a lot coming in tonight on episode 3, which was titled High Sparrow.
Now, there's going to be a lot of spoilers because we've just seen the episode and we are going to completely break it down. So we're going to keep away from the books big time. We're going to make this show heavy. And which is probably a good thing because I'm just going to say this once, but there's things happening in this episode that just does not happen in the books. So a lot of us book readers, most of us, Tiffany, you've not
Let's just say while we were watching the episode, they kept being like, this is not real. This is not true.
It's not real because there's a reality, right?
But guys,
you try to tell me none of this is reality.
Of the show.
Hashtag Jane Poole. Rest in peace.
Yeah, that didn't happen. So let's break it down. A couple of themes happening in this particular episode. We are seeing Cersei lose power. It is called the Game of Thrones, and there's also not only to be the king of the 7 lands, but there's also who's going to be the queen. And this is something that Marjorie Tyrell has wanted since she was a little girl. And she's doing it a whole lot better than Cersei, guys.
I mean, just the moment where you're going to the wedding and they're saying Queen Marjorie, and Cersei's in her little chariot and she's just like, oh my God. Like, it was probably like nails on a chalkboard for her because that was what she'd always waited for. And she had it happen at one time, but no longer.
She ain't no flavor of the month.
That whole scene reminded me of some high school scandals that happened at my high school right after I graduated.
What? I don't know where you're going with this, Ken.
That was slightly awkward. There's some teenage boy in bed with Natalie Dormer.
Oh, yeah. Can we address that elephant in the room?
Am I the only one?
About, like, people yelling things as they ride in chariots. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Sorry, my mind was on the not sex scene, which was the most awkward not sex scene we've had on the show.
Because it was screaming, don't worry, it's over.
Yeah.
It would have only lasted 7 seconds anyway, Ken. Let's be perfectly honest.
But they referenced that. That was the best part of it, is that they were like, it was quick. Because he was afraid he was hurting her.
Have you noticed, though, weddings are a big theme in Game of Thrones. We've got the purple wedding, the red wedding, and then this kind of just happened.
Yeah.
And there was no emphasis on it at all, and I think maybe it's just them learning a lesson. But I know in the books, the same thing happened, where it was just kind of like, da-da-da-da-da, you're married.
Well, by this time, I think we've had a few big weddings, and we get what's going to happen with this one. And you guys were talking about how great Marjorie is at playing the game, and I totally agree with you there. Though every time I watch her play the game, I get nervous for her because she's a character I like.
Yeah.
She is so close to the fire. I'm always nervous that she's going to make that fatal mistake. And she really pushes Cersei's buttons a lot. And it's like watching The Rock versus Cena at WrestleMania.
Yeah, it is. That's exactly what it's like. Welcome to the Game of Thrones podcast.
It's like it's the old dog and the new up and comer.
Yeah.
It's Rock Hogan. Does that work for you? No. Okay. It is these two titans, but one's the veteran that knows the game just that much better.
But is losing the grasp.
But is losing it. And she's got to put over the young kid, and I'm afraid of that young kid's going to make that one fatal mistake.
Don't get cocky.
Well, it also, that one moment where Cersei goes in, it's the day after the wedding, and she goes to talk to Marjorie, and Marjorie's like, what do I call you now? The Queen Mother or whatever it is? And then she says to her, I'm here for you for anything that you need.
Twice.
And the last
like she was
time was so genuine.
Yeah.
The last time was genuine. I was like,
you think it was genuine?
Yeah.
Or was it a threat?
It wasn't a threat.
There's nothing genuine from Cersei but vengeance.
But there was nothing threatening about it.
It almost sounded like she was breaking.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, if there's anything you need.
Yeah.
No, I think that was her trying to swallow as much pride as she could muster in that wine-infused
So she
heart
cut her
of
off, like I'm doing to you. She cut her off to kind of make a point to be like, you know what, stop with your games. I'm going to say this and I'm out.
I actually thought it was more like she saw herself in that position.
No,
And I do.
You have too good of a
Whatever.
heart. You have too good of a heart. That
You're
would
the one
be...
who loves Cersei, so I'm giving some hope that there is some good left in her.
I do love Cersei, and the reason I love Cersei is because that woman is full of pure bile and vengeance.
Yeah. The common denominator here is Tommen. Tommen is now the king of King's Landing, et cetera, et cetera.
Who's
of
so
the-
easily
of the
manipulated.
realms, who is just a little puppy.
He just got his
isn't he?
first boner.
Yeah.
She's
And
leading
now
him
he's like,
around by it.
I want to do that all the time. And this is the thing I've kind of written down in here my note. It's pussy speaks louder than family. And that's the thing.
You said it.
She's going to go like, you want this? Yeah, you know how good that felt, that 7 seconds. We could do it again. And
We could go to
again.
9 seconds.
And Cersei, as much as she does like her, incest and younger guys, like she's protecting Tommen fiercely.
Yeah.
But it's this manipulative power play that they're both in Tommen's ear. And you've got Marjorie saying, your mum's so generous and so giving and she's so protective of you and she's got quite
It's so wonderful.
yeah, it's got such a quite close grasp on you. Wouldn't she be happy somewhere else? And it's like, this whole Tommen's like, great idea. Mother, Castle Rock, would you like to go there? Who said that?
And
She's like,
Tommen's so
boom, boom,
clumsy
boom,
because
boom.
he's thinking it with that young boner. He's just like, Mom, you like Casterly Rock, right?
Yeah, and of
Yeah.
course Cersei can see straight through that.
Yeah, she knows where that's coming from.
But it is funny just to see how at ease Marjorie is at playing this game. She's laughing with her girlfriends,
Yeah.
and then Cersei comes in to try and take that power back, and it was almost like, bitch, you're on my turf now.
Well, and it was the way that she manipulated Tommen was so natural. And then when Cersei starts doing it, you're like, she's trying to manipulate her son and it's not working.
It's
Yeah.
the
Like,
tide
she's
is
like,
turning.
is she smart, really? I mean,
When Cersei closes that door and she hears the laughter,
Yeah.
that's the tide really is turning
Yeah.
for this woman because that never would have happened in the
Yeah.
past.
Well, one of the most powerful words that Marjorie said last episode, when Loras was like, well, if you marry Tommen, Cersei's going to stay there, especially if she doesn't marry me now, so you're going to be stuck with her.
yeah.
Perhaps. She says perhaps. She's got a plan.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that plan is to get rid of her and that you're
Get
seeing
her
it
out.
happen. Yeah, but this is what was foretold as well with Maggie the Frog.
Yeah.
It was like someone who's younger and better at this will completely, just dethrone you and everything that you want in life. Ew.
Now, of course, this episode started in the House of Black and White. What are you guys thinking about inside that house?
I mean, the stuff that we've gotten with Arya, which I've decided that's what I'm calling her from now on. It's not Arya. It's Arya or no one from this episode.
That's right.
I think that it's interesting because as much as they've been watching her this whole time, she realizes that she has to get rid of everything that kind of connects her to being Arya. But she keeps Needle, kind of, which I'm like, they definitely saw her do that. So that part to me was interesting because I feel like they've not let her get away with anything without having an eye on her. So the fact that she goes out to throw everything in the ocean and doesn't take Needle was kind of curious to me.
It's not just a weapon that could protect her. This sword has saved her life time and time again. She
Yeah.
had her first kill with this particular sword. It's
it's
also
from her
the
brother.
sword, that John gave her. So there's this emotional attachment to it
Yeah.
as well. Is it interesting that Snow is becoming higher and higher in the chain? He's Lord Commander of Winterfell now. He can be the not of Winterfell, of the Night's Watch. He could be the Lord of Winterfell should he bow his knee to Stannis. I mean, these are things that are happening here. Their paths could cross. Maybe the needle comes into effect.
Yeah.
I think there's a future with this sword.
For sure.
hope
Because
so.
it's also, as she's giving everything away, I'm like, depending on how long they're apart, to prove that you are who you say you are, if she does run into John or anybody else who knows that sword was from him and who it was given to, that she can say, this is basically, it's like her driver's license. She's like,
Yeah.
look, I'm Arya Stark. Look at Needle.
Yeah.
Just like that. That's how she talks.
She is undergoing a stripping of all possessions and trying to prove to herself. I mean, ever since she was handed this coin, she was like, I want to become this faceless man. I want to become someone who's so gifted at being an assassin. And she's finally on the path for it happening. So she's doing everything that she can to make sure that this is basically her new life direction. She's got a purpose.
Well, and I mean, because I haven't read this far into the books, the stuff that's happening, do you guys know, like, is this close to, so you know exactly where this is going, where they start washing the body and stuff? Don't reveal, but I don't know if that's in there.
Other than we discussed, Jagan Hagar is not really there. It's
just a priest.
Priest and a blind guy and all these characters. It's a weird place. It's keeping pretty much in close, which is good. It's also, I got to be honest, in those chapters of the books are not my favorite chapters.
Yeah.
They're a bit slow.
It's Luke having porridge on Dagobah. It's just a little like...
It felt a little slow in the first one, I'm not going to lie.
But there's some interesting stuff that we know could happen to her, but also it's the struggle of watching this character that from the beginning has been running around, shooting arrows, this and that, killing fat kids, trying to save her dad, and it's go, 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 vengeance, vengeance, vengeance. And now Jagan Hagar and the Faceless Men are saying, slow down, slow down. So that is an interesting kind of conflict for that character to run into.
Which, can we just say for a moment that I feel like the guy who plays Jagan Hagar would be a way better Dario?
You know what,
so?
though?
Yeah.
Next season, he probably will be, the way they're going.
I mean, yeah. I think he has something that's so creepy and menacing and just puts you a little bit on edge that I really like, that I think would work for Dario's character. But
I like Dario's butt this season, so we'll keep that one. Look, had a vom in my mouth this particular episode. Kind of had a retch fest when I saw hanging flayed bodies in Winterfell.
yeah.
That's never
I like
pretty.
that you transitioned straight from liking his butt to flayed men.
It was a smooth transition. Like Dario's butt.
Sometimes same thing.
And the skin of a flayed person, or lack of, basically.
Yeah,
this is just honing in the point that Ramsay is evil.
It's off-putting, yeah. Oh, Ramsay is.
And you kind of get
The
to
last
that.
bad guy.
I thought for a second that we were on the wall when I was like just watching, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh nope, we're in Winterfell. So that was, I feel like, the first time we've seen what Winterfell has really become with them in charge.
Yeah.
And who's coming back to Winterfell, which
Yeah. They're rebuilding Winterfell. Yeah, and then what is probably the biggest plot reveal so far this season. And yeah, we'll say it is a drastic change from the books, but we'll move.
It doesn't happen in the books.
We'll move past that. I don't know
Say
how
it
the
once.
producers of the show are, but I trust Dan and Dave so far, so we'll see. But it is absolutely, Baelish is in control and is always in control. And now he's got this plan to kind of take the North. And it's through Sansa.
But this is the thing. It's through this artificial marriage. I mean, you said that you
Are
kind
any
of...
marriages real?
Let's get deep in love. Let's talk about
not
the
on
fact-
Game of Thrones.
You said you felt a little bit of something for Ramsay last season when he was
I did.
not a bastard anymore and he was given the official title
I
of
didn't
being
expect to,
yeah,
but I
a
did.
Bolton.
Yeah.
But now you realize it's for Roos's benefit to kind of establish and to continue to
Yeah.
take over the North.
Roose is an underrated power player. And
Yep.
part of it is because he's just a pure bad guy.
He's
now.
Yeah.
desperate now, though. Tywin,
is.
he put a lot of eggs in Tywin's basket. He's dead. He's like, okay, got to
Now
change
what?
my plan.
I just think whereas Baelish plays out ahead, he's ahead of you 5 moves. Roose kind of hangs back and picks his moments, but he's underrated in the series in terms of power play. But you're right.
Yeah.
But he's smart enough to realize, Tywin's dead. He died on the shitter. I don't have what I had, so I've got to do something.
And I've got one bastard son who's absolutely psychotic and sociopathic. But if I make him my true son, hey, I can marry. And this is where it's the politics are coming back into play. It's
Yeah.
like, you know what? The North was taken before.
Yeah.
You know, and it's also been very, very powerful. And the best thing that you can do is marry and strengthen your family that way. It's not shaking a guy's hand. It's putting,
Or peeling
his
off
daughter,
their skin, as he said.
Yeah. Well, and I think that, you know, when Littlefinger's talking about it and he says that when the Eyrie and the Northmen were together, they overthrew the strongest
Dynasty.
Yeah, the strongest dynasty. So I feel like that for the both of them is the driving force, obviously, as always. So it's interesting because I feel like Littlefinger, which you didn't catch this in the last episodes, where he's talking about my marriage proposal was accepted. I thought that he was talking about himself.
Lysa was
and then
gone.
Yeah.
Next.
Yep. And so when we're on that, you know, on the fields looking down at the Eyrie and he's talking to her about it, and before we got to that scene, I go, they're going to marry him to Sansa. And you both go, what? Because I'm like, because you guys have read it, I'm like, my mind just goes wherever the show is.
Yeah.
But that scene for me was so telling, just seeing Sansa and Littlefinger talking to each other. And
The
I
power
don't
he
think,
has over her.
But
is
I don't
amazing.
even think in that case it's manipulation, because honestly, he was telling the truth to her, where it's like, if she doesn't go there and marry him, there's no way she's ever going to get to go back to Winterfell. There's no way she's ever going to be able to bring back the Stark name. She's going to be running.
But she's marrying her off, to the guy that killed all of her family.
Right.
Roose Bolton was responsible for putting,
Literally.
crossbow
Yeah.
bolts in.
But he's teaching her the game.
And I think that's part of this relationship now.
You don't do that from a place of love, though.
No.
This is a manipulative ploy.
I think it's manipulation, but I also think I think Baelish is sincere in the stuff he's saying, and I think you're right, Tiff. He is right in what he's saying.
Yeah.
It's sometimes like the Hound would tell Arya, I'm right. This is what you need to. I need to hit him over the head and take his money. That's how it works.
Yep. So, I mean, that moment for me, I think, was just a really nice scene between the two of them, because there have been scenes before where it's like they're having intimate conversation. It becomes somewhat creepy.
Yeah, he
In
talks
this
really close
case,
to her mouth.
He
I don't
always
like-
talks really close
don't
to her.
like
But this one didn't feel as creepy as usual.
You don't like it when I do that to you?
No, I
We're
no.
going to do the podcast.
When you're like, this is what we're talking about on the show.
Third wheeling so hard right now.
That's how all of those guys on the horses felt when they were talking with Sansa and Littlefinger.
Yeah. Can we just talk about Sansa's bad luck with marriages?
Yeah.
First of all, it was Joffrey,
Yeah.
she was betrothed to, who beat her senseless and used her like a plaything. And then you've got, she was married off to Tyrion, and that went down well. Now Ramsay Bolton makes Joffrey look like a little playful puppy.
You're right.
He strips, and did you see? He stripped the skin off that family, the woman and the child, or
Yeah.
it was like the father and the mother in front of the son, whatever it was despicable because they wouldn't pay their taxes.
And
Yeah.
the best part was they have the best transitions when it comes to Ramsay, because last season we had the sausage to the junk getting cut off. This episode we had the flayed people transitioning to meat being cut on the table.
I forget that actor's name. If we have,
Rob Thomas. 'Cause
It
that's
is
what he
Rob
looks like.
Thomas. It's been a long day. He's got the best mouthful reactions.
This?
He's got when that sausage scene with Reek, and then this he's talking, and I love that
Yeah.
his dad was like, "Stop eating,
Yeah.
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 talking here."
I thought John Mayer more than.
No, John
John
Mayer,
Mayer.
little
Rob Thomas.
Yeah,
Maybe a mix of the two.
you said
Maybe
Eddie
that.
Munster.
He's like,
Maybe a bit.
Yeah, show producer David Fick called him Eddie Munster in the
Yeah.
in the middle
Yeah.
of it
Meets
too.
John Mayer.
Very-
Meets a
John
little
Mayer.
bit of Count Chocula.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Brienne's following Sansa still. She got completely rejected by her last episode, but it's like, you know what? I don't
Yep.
trust this Peter Baelish guy, so I'm just going to follow them. But what we end up getting is a really beautiful moment between Podrick and Brienne.
It was.
I love these pairings that we've seen throughout the seasons. You know, when we had Arya and the Hound, and you're like, oh, this is going to be
Yep.
terrible. They're actually having really great moments. Where Jamie and Brienne, we've had that, and
Yep.
now with Podrick and Brienne, and you're getting history. You're
Yeah.
figuring out where they're coming from. For the first time, I'm hearing about Podrick's backstory,
Yeah.
about why he became a squire, and with Brienne, which is kind of what happens in the books a little bit. There's where everyone.
Yes.
The guys were trying to pretend that they loved her and were doting on her and fighting for her hand, when in actual fact they were just making fun of her. The
Yeah.
fact that Renly was the one that saved the date makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I was like, why
Yeah.
does she love this man? She does know that Renly was gay. Why is she so kind of like overwhelmingly protective and almost
Yeah.
in love with this man?
I
Cares
also
for him
just
so
liked
deeply.
when they were having that conversation and Podrick's like, but didn't you knew that he was? And she's like, I know he liked men.
Yeah.
But it was just like handled so well, because it was, she's not dumb. She wasn't just bowled over by someone possibly loving her. It was, this person actually cared about my feelings in a moment.
Yeah.
Well, this show, the heart of it, a lot is about those broken characters and those what do they call
yeah.
it? The bastards and the broken bastards and all those things.
Everyone feeling unworthy.
Yeah, and
That's why they all want the throne.
And you finally really got that origin story, so to speak, with Brienne.
Yeah.
Where she realized it was the most ugliest woman in the world, and now she had to become who she is now. And so that was a great moment. This storyline is kind of aimless to me right now, but if it's allowing for those moments. Well, it's aimless because it's aimless. The point of their quest
really liked
is
it.
taken away, but it does give moments that I like. Now we have character moments.
I think why I found it to be a little lackluster was because I compared it to the backstory when Jamie's talking to Brienne, and it was just so like, heart-wrenching and you felt so much. And I think that's why this scene to me felt a little bit like, okay, here we go.
Well, that
We're
scene
getting,
also
like-
had Jamie's butt, and that's, I know, another reason you probably liked it.
He
and
was in
it's
the
all right.
tub. You couldn't even see it.
He stood up. You saw back up
You
ball.
couldn't
one
see the
stump
butt.
in that
You
tub.
couldn't see the butt.
Hey,
Oh my
okay.
gosh.
Moving on.
Yep, moving on.
from Jamie's butt.
Back to the Night's Watch, and Stannis is still trying to get Jon Snow on his side. He's, you know, Davos said it so well. He goes, Stannis sees something in you. May not sound like it with his voice, but he does. He sees something in you, and it's so true. And then Jon Snow, this episode, really showed a side of him that we'd never seen before.
You guys reacted.
Well, I was trying to
Yeah.
remember. Did he watch Ned?
Yep.
He did, right?
Either he was the one
Okay.
that said, is it
No,
he that
Rob
says to
couldn't do
Bran,
it.
Like,
Yeah,
you've
no,
got to
he's-
make sure you look, dude.
make sure look, Father
Don't
will know.
close your
yeah.
eyes. Yeah.
Oh, that was Rob then.
That was Rob.
Rob said
yeah.
it.
Oh, what? It's been
No,
so long.
I feel like I think it was John.
First episode of the first season. Was John there, or was he not allowed
No,
to?
they were there because they found the dire wolf on the way
Yeah.
back.
Yes. Yep.
But
Wait, guys, let us know in the chat room if you remember who actually said "Don't close your eyes."
I think it may have been Rob. Not
I
sure,
can't
but there is
remember.
a chat room if you're watching on the live stream function.
Or tweet
right
us
now.
in as well, even.
Yeah, use that hashtag. The night is done.
But I thought like that for me was just an interesting interaction in general, because when Davos is even telling him, you know, that he sees something in you, I was like, does he mean that in a good way or a bad way? Because if he does see something in him, is he worried and he's going to get him killed too?
What's
like,
the one thing that Stannis and
John says
John
it.
said
John
it.
says
There you
it.
go. That is interesting.
Yep.
Then full circle.
Yeah.
Stannis and with the help, especially with
Oh, now somebody's saying Rob.
it's either
it's all over the place.
with Melisandre. What are they after? The blood of a king.
Blood of the king.
What do they see in John? Could he have?
Yeah,
The blood of a king.
but I don't think this moment was driven
No.
by that. I think Stannis really likes the kid. I think he.
Does he really like him, or does he
No,
see
he
him as
does.
someone that
'Cause
if he doesn't get him under his thumb, at some point he's going to be the one that has to fight against him? That's what I think he sees.
No,
He's in war mode.
No, you're right. You're right. You're not wrong, kid. You're not wrong. But I don't think Stannis in this particular incident is because we didn't see Melisandre. I think Davos is right, where he's like, nah, dude kind of likes you. You should maybe consider going with him. But,
Yeah.
you know, he likes him. And then definitely after what we saw and caused everyone to shriek.
Yeah.
Just
Stannis
remember
likes
when
him
Jon
now.
Snow had like nothing, and now he's Lord Commander, trying to convince,
And he
be
knew nothing?
convinced to be. Yeah, he knew nothing this whole time.
Now he knows everything.
Could be a lord if he wants to. Back
Yeah.
of the North, which is kind
Yeah.
of what he always wanted. He just wanted to belong.
That's what he dreamed about.
But I
yeah.
think on this show, that is the only way you survive. If you are willing to give up power in some way, and in that case, it was saying, I don't want to rule Winterfell. I mean, he's still taking power in some way as being the lord over the wall. But it was interesting because I'm like, I feel like he was channeling Ned in a lot of ways in that
So
scene, where it was
much.
like he came out, he was trying to do what was right. He's like, this is how everything goes. This is the
swore
letter
an oath.
of the
I
law.
swore an oath.
I swore this oath, and you're not going to do what I asked you to do or what I told you to do, because it wasn't a question, as he said. So it was like he had to do that, because at that point, even when he's like, I beg for mercy, like, I'll do whatever you want, I'll send me there.
late,
And you're like,
damage done.
he's not. You can't fix that again. Like,
No.
you've got to die, bro.
I think John, too, this decision, it's got, especially on the show, this is a very show character point. I think John, his heart's with the free folk too, a little bit too,
Yeah.
and I think he'd be worried about what would happen if I go fight Winterfell with you, and even if we win and I'm there, what's going to happen to those people?
Stannis made a great point. He's like, your men don't like the wild. That's terrible. That was Davos
Yeah.
or anything. Your men don't like the wildling.
I don't know what that was.
Some don't. Some, which means
Yeah.
Stop trying to do accents and get your point across, Maude.
Just call Stannis the one true king, and
No.
you know,
Nah. Not going to happen.
it's his by right.
But I was going to say, I also like how Stannis is giving Jon advice on how to do his job. You've got enemies here. Get rid of them.
Well, also,
And he's
you
like,
saw him watching as John does the beheading.
Yes.
He looks over and he looked kind of pleased with how he behaved, where it's like, okay, he's actually taking on this mantle, and he's embracing
Let's
it.
not forget that last episode he gave mercy to Mance and put an arrow in his heart while he was burning alive. So now he's like, oh, you've got ruthlessness in you.
You've learned it. Well, and Stannis reacts to that. Stannis is the type of person that believes in the rule of law, just as Davos in his fingers. So
Yeah.
I think it was a moment. Whether it was Stannis going, see, you're learning, or
Yeah.
you still have it. That's a good point. You both bring up a question.
Well, but it also was like a different form of mercy with Mance because he wasn't stopping what had to happen.
Yeah.
He was just ending the pain and brutality of it. So it would have been if he had said, okay, let's flay this guy. That would have been different. He was like, I beheaded him. It was fast. And like, that's how we do it in the North as well. So he knew about that way, you know? I think the interesting thing there also you get from those scenes is the fact that he's talking to him about Winterfell, and you go back and now Sansa is at Winterfell. And there was this moment where she goes into her room and the woman who's there says like, welcome home. The North remembers. And I was like, whoa, okay, this is a big moment. And hopefully it gets back to Jon that his sister's there.
Totally. A little bit of a timeout. Just looking through these tweets. Thank you so much, guys, for tweeting in. It's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
We had 3 in a row that confirmed it was Jon.
Jon.
That told Bran to keep his eye open during that very, very first beheading. Thank you to Brad Thomas, Leo, and to Waterfaster 2012.
And
did you see the other one there? That was
Leo brought up a good point about Janos Slynt and
Yes.
because he had a part in the beheading. It was his taking the money from the Queen versus the money from Baelish. It was all a work, but that led to Ned being betrayed. So yeah, they don't really draw attention to it. I get your point, Leo, but it is a great thing for Jon. He kind of got a little bit of revenge for
Does he know
quote
though?
unquote daddy.
Did he
I
know?
don't know if he actually knows specifically. Janos bragged about being part of the City Watch, but not necessarily specifics of turning on his father.
Leo's saying that Jon said it. Jon said it that Janos had a hand in the benedding.
He might,
and I
but-
love that benedding's taken off, guys. Hashtag
Yeah.
benedding.
The benedding. Yeah, it's been a while since I've read A Dance with Dragons too. I think I'm trying to refresh myself, but it doesn't matter because the producers haven't.
Well, and just getting back to what the title of this episode was, because we haven't really spoken
Sons
that
of the
much.
Harpy. Oh, wait.
Next week.
Zing.
We haven't really talked that much about the sparrows and about the High Sparrow, and that's what this episode, I think, a lot of it had to do with, and seeing Cersei kind of come out of her high tower and go to meet the High Sparrow, where, you know, the interaction that we find out about there even being a High Sparrow is from the brothel.
old
So
man
we're
butt.
seeing some, that was where the old man butt happened.
That was one of the funnier moments is seeing Oliver with the beard, the fake beard.
Oh
on.
yeah, that was weird.
What? Yeah, all of us were
How
like, that's
much
a
does
fake
that
beard,
party
right? That is a
cost?
fake beard. Okay.
It's like I was watching an episode of the Moonlight Bunny Ranch on HBO.
But basically, the High Septon, you know, is visiting this brothel. So you've got the vigilantes coming in that are, you know, taking the
Yeah.
law into their own hands and
Lancel.
providing.
Well, the religious vigilantes who
Yeah.
are saying
Sparrows, yeah.
you shouldn't be a hypocrite. You're saying you're this one thing, but you're behaving like this. So they take him out into the streets to let everyone see that that's what he's doing.
And that was your man butt.
Yeah, that was.
Thank you guys for
The man
spoiling
butt.
me with that one.
Yeah.
Thanks, Game of Thrones. You promised
All
man
she
butt.
wants is Dario's. That's all she wants.
I'm a one-man woman.
One man butt woman.
Yeah,
Exactly. But getting to see Cersei have that conversation, and then she says, "Oh, I put him in the keep." Like he comes in and is like, "I want you to kill the High Sparrow. This was despicable. They can't treat me this way." You don't see the interaction of what she actually does, but then she goes to see the High Sparrow, and she's like, he tells his story, and I think in some ways she felt a connection to him and in what he was saying more because he says no one is above anyone else. And I think for her, that's one of those moments where she brings up the being a woman thing, you know, where no one is in a higher position than anyone else, though you could be king or queen.
I felt it was a
But-
bit jarring though because Cersei's always looking out for herself. She plays the game so well. So to kind of connect on a selfless level is like, huh?
Yeah, you keep attributing a lot of good things to Cersei, and I appreciate what you're doing to my wife, but no, I think she definitely sees the power turning towards
Yeah.
this.
Let's not forget how she first came across the Sparrow, Lancel.
Lancel,
Yeah.
Who was like, I have all of your deep dark secrets, but I have found religion, and religion is
Who
helping
says,
me
sorry,
right now."
cousin, can't have sex with you no more.
Yeah.
Found
Well-
me with a weights
And gyms, yeah. He went
They're
to a
all
gym.
like a lot of them are buff except for the ones that were right there with the
Yeah.
High Sparrow because they were
They're all concave.
yeah,
and
exactly.
Very
But
hungry.
but I think Cersei is not saying anything you're saying is wrong there at all. There's a lot of complex layers to Cersei, but she's going through this weird power switch. She also fancies herself the next Tywin in a way. Like she's
Yeah.
going to be the one in control of this stuff. So she meets the High Sparrow, excellently portrayed by Jonathan Price, who apparently you spot at the gym.
He,
Like, what do you
yeah,
do?
the Sparrows really did find a gym
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
he's at my gym in LA. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's and he's a character you shouldn't trust, and I don't trust, and that's why the portrayal of him is so deep already by Jonathan Pryce, because it's like, who is this dude? He's got no shoes, he's feeding soup, but he's clearly in power. So,
and I think Cersei needs allies.
Yeah. Well, and that was, as she's leaving, I'm like, she's figuring out a way to use this man and these people, the Sparrows, to help take down Marjorie.
A team of religious vigilantes? You kidding me? What a great asset to have if she can get in with them. This is complete.
Well, and then just to wash your hands of it and say they're just religious zealots. I had nothing to do with this.
Meanwhile, click point death.
Yep.
Who knows?
Crazy. And the one thing that we all jumped when we were watching the episode as well was Cersei goes back to what is his name?
Qyburn.
Yeah, goes back to Qyburn, and we're like, what's going on in there? Oh, she's going to send a letter. Okay, cool. That's not the only thing that's going down in here.
I spurred it straight away. I'm like, ooh, mountains under the blanket.
How's everything going in here? And he's like, well, it's going well.
That was a funny moment.
Just decapitated a rat, though.
Everything's great. Which was like,
nothing to see here.
I'm like a weirdo that I was like, it was like he popped a zit because it came up to the like magnifying glass. The blood did.
He's like,
okay. Yeah. But as we're watching it, Maude goes, is he gonna move? He's gonna move, and then he does move, and all of us are like, ah!
I called it.
It was a Frankenstein moment.
Qyburn is fastly becoming one of my favorite characters on the show. In the book, I didn't think much of him, but on the show, that actor, and again, I forget his name. I should have this all written down, but he's just
freaky,
playing him so well because he doesn't even move.
He's just
Careful,
all like,
my friend, quiet, my friend. Like, great moment.
It was a very creepy scene, and I think who knows what's going to happen with that. And I think
he's moving mountains.
It was also interesting because I don't know what's going to happen in the House of Black and White, but the stuff that like them having that body there and washing the body.
Wasn't it a kind of a, I don't know if it was editing, but that kind of seemed like a, are you using this dramatic pause to hone in on a point? And then it just kind of switched and you're like, well, in my mind, I was thinking that with what?
I'll tell you what they do.
Well, because here's what I think, which I'm probably totally wrong, but I'm like,
I'd rather
I think
you be
they
scared.
use the bodies. I think they use the bodies so that that's who they can then become. Those other faces that they have for each person. So it's like reviving them. So it was cool if that is true that happened in that scene, and then the mountain.
If you
possibly
don't want me out there to confirm it, and you don't know,
for 10
there
seconds.
might be a major spoiler for a second. There might be a spoiler. This means spoiler stuff. What?
So they do. They cut off the faces, and that's the faceless men.
Okay, you good again? Woo! That was painless.
So for non-readers, I even picked up on those two things, though.
It has no plot value.
Yeah.
It has no plot value.
Yeah.
It's just what they are.
And I mean, we'll find out soon enough, I'm sure.
Can we go back to Winterfell for a second? Because the fact that Roose Bolton went, hello, Sansa Stark, was anyone else like, but, what's the point here? So how does Roose know? Is it because Baelish and Roose are forming an alliance? They're taking over the north. So what does this mean for the Iron Isles? What does this mean for King's
what do you
Landing?
mean?
Well, they know that it's Sansa. So the fact that she had to become Elaine, what was the point of that? Was just kind
to get her out, to keep her safe.
Look, by this point, and I'm not being bitter book guy here, they have so drastically changed what's going on here.
The Sansa story.
I don't know. I'm watching it with new eyes for the first time. I see it as Sansa learning. I see it as I see it as a Winds of Winter spoiler more than I see it as a show. But it's kind of fascinating. I mean, if I have the same problem every week. There's one thing that I get pissed off about, and it takes me 2 days to realize that there's more important things in life, and I'll just follow the TV show as it is. And this is this week's, but it's not all bad. I agree with our friend Megan back there who says this kind of helps with the character bloat. Yeah. And George R.R. Martin has character bloat, believe me.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think I just take it as Sansa learning a very, very powerful
Is the trigger because Tywin Lannister is dead? He was the power player. He made sure that the Lannisters were on the throne.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what Littlefinger even said. He was like, with Tywin gone, He was
Yeah.
the one who was forcibly keeping his family in power. Now he's not there, and there's no one to do that.
It's in his death you realize now how much he was really the true ruler.
Yeah.
Not counting Dorne, because Dorne was always kind of on the outside of the realm. That's why he went to Oberyn last year and said, "I'll put you on the council.
Yes.
You can. I need you in here." But
Yeah.
with Tywin gone, it is kind of chaotic.
Yeah.
So with the Lannisters out, it doesn't matter about their wealth anymore even.
Nothing matters.
No.
Yeah.
So Roose and Peter, they actually kind of bonded over the fact that they were both in with the Lannisters. Now they're fading the Lannisters out, and they're trying to build their own empire of the North.
Well, basically all they have to do, like they said, is they took down the stronger dynasty, which I'm assuming is the Targaryens they're talking about at that point. That with
Yeah.
them, those two houses together, they could go and take King's Landing, and they could put Stannis in. I mean, not Stannis. They could put their
that's
new
the
ruler
thing.
in position.
But who is that? Who are they fighting for? Who are they championing to take Tommen off the throne? Because, it's obvious Daenerys Targaryen feels that she's the rightful ruler,
Yeah.
and that's,
Yeah.
everyone's
Have they
supporting
said?
her cause. Have they said
who their like leader would
That's
be?
what I
I would
mean.
guess Roose, but
Because at one stage, Robb Stark was the king of the North, and there's still a Stark in town. So does that mean
and-
she
and-
technically
and what we
is...
learned
well,
last
now she's a Bolton though.
we learned last week that Bear Island only recognizes the King of the North, whose name is Stark, and there's still probably some wars to be had. Then, yeah, that the North is it's so key, and it's so wide open too. There's still so many. There's the Umbers and all the people up in the Last Hearth, and there's still more people that could.
And there's all these wildlings with nowhere to go.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so Stannis is trying to control the North. I'm just trying to get the power play happening on the map.
It's like a game of Risk. We're putting down the pieces.
Yeah, exactly. So we've got Stannis trying to take the North, and Peter Baelish and Roose Bolton going to object to that. Then you've got in Marine, Marine. You've got Dany Targaryen, who's building up her army, blah blah blah, and then Tyrion,
Dany T.
and then as we call her now in our
which
hood,
we haven't even talked about this stuff yet. The
Well, I mean-
Tyrions. The
Targaryens.
the Tyrion stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And he's on his way to go to Daenerys. So that's that's huge separate. And then Dawn's another story altogether, which is apparently next episode. Okay, sorry. Varys, Tyrion, let's chat.
Every single
Funny.
second with the two of them. Yeah.
Love
I
it.
mean, just watching him opening and closing the window, opening and closing, opening and closing. And then when he says the line where he's like, I just need to see someone else's face. And he's
not a
like,
bad face.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I was like, it's so perfect. They're like the two Stooges.
Yeah.
While they're in this box together. And obviously, you know that he's going to have to get out to get some alcohol and to go to a brothel. You know.
Yeah.
Which
I could get that.
I just was very surprised at how they didn't do any like really covering of the face. They put a little scarf over him. And then
Yeah.
while he's in the brothel, he's like, I always pay my debts.
I'm a
used to be
Lannister."
really rich. I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
stop giving major hints here. It was pretty crazy.
Spoiling himself. I
Seriously.
want to talk about that Dany cosplay.
Whew. I have that cosplay outfit, and if you twist the skirt,
You got it.
you got instant Dany butt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I thought I was
gonna have
watching Game
fun
of
in that.
Bones, the
Oh.
porn parody that came out a couple years
Wow.
ago.
Wow.
I haven't seen it yet, Tiffany.
Yes, you have.
I have not.
Yes, you have.
But I mean, if you think of it this way, in the brothel, she's the most popular one there because everyone wants to
Yeah.
pork a queen. She's actually got a huge following already.
well, and that was
Sure,
what
she
was
has a lot
interesting
of
too,
Periscope
because
followers.
this was the first time where before they go to the brothel, they're where all the slaves are, and they see this woman
This
who
priestess.
is preaching the Lord of the
Light.
Light's message, and basically says that Dany is the savior, which I don't think we've ever heard anything along those lines.
Yeah,
from,
how did those two meet?
I think we've heard
Yeah.
it from Dany herself.
Well,
Stubborn, stuck-up little girl.
Oh, hey, whoa.
but she doesn't even know anything about that religion,
Hey.
does she?
I don't think she's religious. She's just out.
not. Well, you know what's funny? It's a great point. You know, of all the houses, of all the people, all the characters, the one group that never really claims too much religion and you don't know where they come from is the Targaryens.
It's
Targaryens.
because they have
really
dragons,
That's
guys.
because they
Yeah.
keep sleeping with each other as well.
They believe in nothing. Yeah, no, it's true. Yeah, so you don't. Yeah, I thought that was interesting. That whole thing with that Red Priestess, which could be several different characters. They could be drawing from several different characters here in the book. I think. So I'm actually excited. I think it was pretty cool. And when she looks over at Tyrion, What is it with those red
I wanted her to
priestesses?
say, "Your soul is mine."
Thoris Amir just drinks. Melisandre
Yeah.
and this one they like staring at you.
Yeah.
If they have a need for you, they'll just.
So well, it turns out that's a pretty popular place to be, especially if you've been exiled by Dany herself. So
I mean, that's what you would do. You drink and you go to brothels, apparently,
yeah.
when you're
Try
exiled.
it sometime. I mean, being exiled.
I was like, I'd have to get exiled from somewhere first.
So Jorah Mormont is there, but I have no idea what his shtick is because he sees this wannabe Dany and he's like,
sad.
oh, that's such a pretty butt.
No, he was heartbroken that his beloved queen is being cosplayed
Yeah.
in this horrible manner.
Cheaply cosplayed.
You were so offended, Ken, weren't you? You're
I was
looking at it
so
and you two
offended.
were crying. Oh, yeah, because you channel.
Yeah, I channeled Jorah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But a lot of questions coming up in the tweets. Clarify, which queen is he talking about?
Okay, and this is where the book conversation and TV show conversation comes up because I go, he's taking him to Dany, and you guys are like, no, he's not.
But I honestly don't remember. Actually,
I
to be
don't
honest,
know
I
the
don't remember.
answer.
Again, I read Dance with Dragons maybe 2 years ago.
Vicus
so
is like,
I
which
can't
one?
remember, and I can't. So I'm kind of choosing not to know.
Well, he's
at this
been
point.
exiled, so he can't exactly
But he's
go back, and he's not
But
wanted.
if he felt like there was some value to bringing Tyrion to her,
There's both. So fight
There's
it out.
value to both,
I
yeah.
don't think Jorah knows that Tyrion would be an asset to Daenerys. I don't think that he's going back. I've got the golden ticket.
yes,
in the
he does because she thinks that he was always working with the Lannisters to get back at her.
Yep.
So if
That's a good point.
he brings a Lannister to her and is like, "Look, I'm not on their side. I brought you to him. Please let
But-
me back into your good graces."
But then the other thought is that Cersei has sent out the edict that, hey, you bring me my brother's head.
1,000 dragons?
And
Was
I'll,
it?
yeah, and I'll
10,000
take care of you.
dragons?
I think
But do
she
you
said
think
I'll take
he'd,
care
like,
of you.
at this? You think Jorah cares at this point? He's just
I think
out
he
for
just
money?
wants that harlot in the Dany cosplay to cover her ass. I think that's all Jorah cares.
So if
over.
he has all that money, he can come back and be like, "Here, put on a full skirt, okay?
Yes.
Thank
Yeah,
you."
yeah.
Don't disparage my queen.
He doesn't want a throne. He just wants a full skirt.
He wants a
Make it
throner.
rain.
So what do we got? What do we think though? Which queen are we talking about? And was it purposefully vague?
Absolutely, purposefully vague.
Well, obviously, but I say
he could be
I say
talking about
Cersei.
Marjorie.
Cast your votes. Use the hashtag The Night Is Dark on Twitter. Which queen do you think it is? Is Sir Jorah, not even anymore, Jorah Mormont taking Tyrion to Daenerys Targaryen to win back favor, or to Queen Cersei, or should we call her Queen
The
Mother?
Queen Mother.
Queen
Or the,
Mother.
I mean,
the
The Queen
Dowdry.
He
Grandmother.
would really be taking her back to Marjorie at this point. Him back to Marjorie.
I think he's trying to get back to Dany
Yeah.
to win. He'd rather win love than win her heart back, or at least just be able to stand next to her all day at business meetings. Than
And
Does he want to go
offer-
back there, knowing that Dario is doing
Yeah.
the deed?
I mean, yes.
you know, as someone who's hung around girls who haven't chosen me, yeah, I think sometimes you just want to I'll take you to McDonald's.
Still get the
I just want to be
of-
close to you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll buy you a Big Mac. That we square. Yeah, I think that's a little bit of Jorah here.
Yeah,
Listen from Leo says Tyrion loves to pee from a high place.
He does.
he does.
That's true.
He does.
He
Yeah.
really does.
He does.
You're gonna get drunk and publicly pee.
And this
Make it fly.
they executed this stuff really well
Yeah.
here. This is where the show producers, I tease and get mad and all that stuff. But they do a great job of paring down some stuff because this kind of happens in two places. It's like in Pentos and or all this stuff. But they've jumped ahead kind of to the Sorrows, I believe, where there's a lot of grayscale around there. That's why that was mentioned. So they're kind of moving up on the road, which I kind of like. It's kind of compacting the story.
Yeah.
Well,
And
this was a very interesting place with the slaves that had their
Yeah.
symbol of what their role was within the community. Like, a tear for if you're a whore, a builder, you've got a little
Yeah.
hammer on
Yeah.
your cheek, and then what was the
Well,
other one?
it's funny.
You had literally like an
Fly.
emoji poo.
yeah, fly on a poo. I always, and this is in Essos, a lot of these slaves are like this. I always pictured it as a big covers your whole face. They got this little thing. I always thought it was like this.
You got a fly on your face.
Yeah.
Oh wait!
Oh, no,
Yeah.
you just clean up poop.
Just slave
clean
tattoo.
poop for a living?
Yeah.
It's just slave tat.
But I could understand for the prostitutes why you wouldn't want it all. That might ruin
Yeah.
the merchandise if you're a
That's
pimp
true.
back there.
Well, and I think having that whole section be described before they talked about the fact that Dany is the savior made a lot more sense to me because I'm like, oh, they're talking about all being slaves and she is the breaker of chains. So
Yeah, I mean, if you're a whole town full of slaves, it's like, yeah, there's your light at the end of the tunnel. There's your savior potentially.
Yeah, especially if you're from afar and you're hearing all this stuff. You don't know the problems going on in Marine, or the problems in Yunkai that from behind when the Wise Masters kind of rose up again and all that kind of stuff. So
they don't know about the Sons of the Harpy.
Yeah, but they don't. You know, so they're from a distance. They're like, yeah, hey, when's it our turn? When's it our turn? And that might not be a
The
good
breaker
thing.
of chains.
Yeah.
Wow, she was completely, apart from Danny Wannabe Butt, completely the storyline, absent from this episode. How are we with that? Whatever.
Okay. We also
You're like, oh, okay.
We had no Jamie and Braun, and hey, we don't have Bran the entire season. I think it's okay. There's so many stories. That's one thing I hear a lot during the week from people who are friends with me or fans of the show. They say this season's starting really slow. Guess what? Every season other than season 1 starts really slow. We hear the same complaints until about episode 4 because there's so many character bloat that you got to kind of reintroduce everybody and kind of you only have a short amount of time to get it going. I think it'll pick up next week.
Was it the Purple Wedding was this 3rd episode of last season?
Was second. That's why a lot of people go to last year.
Because what was 3rd episode? There was a season that 3rd episode was something big. I'm just happy that they didn't do the exact same format this season because I was I don't want to. The thing that I love about this show is that you never know what's going to happen. You never know who's going to die when. But if it started to be like, oh, in the first 2 or 3 episodes every season, something pretty dramatic happens.
They changed it up a lot last year. The Purple Wedding was in 2 and all that kind of stuff. And then, usually you get a big one in 9. Well, last season, 8 and 9 were big in terms of that kind of stuff. Yeah, I agree with you.
I was noticing a pattern in the episode breakdown. You know how it starts off usually in the north or whatever, and always the last story you didn't hear from Daenerys at all until the very last part of the show, and I felt that was falling into a pattern as well. And I'd be like, oh, we haven't had it. Just you wait.
Yeah.
Boom, that's it. Send it on home. There she is.
Yep.
So, not having her at all. They're not relying on that. That's kind of cool. It's a little bit more
well, and
unpredictable.
I'm still...
It allows us to have more time with Stannis, which I think is what we all want.
Plus, I'm still just living off of the moment with Drogon coming back for a second. I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay just like stretching that out in my mind for a little bit longer.
All right.
Drogon?
The dragon.
Oh, the dragon.
Drogon the dragon?
Drogon the dragon.
You sound like the priest in Age of Empires. Drogon. Oh, that's just any of the
Drogon.
Age of Empires.
Come here, Drogon. That's how she talks to them, or she should.
Alrighty, so we asked you guys, who do you think Jorah Mormont is taking Tyrion to gagged and bound? We've got Waterfaster 2012 saying Mr. Friendzone Jonah,
No.
Jorah, is obviously taking Tyrion to Daenerys. He's hopeless.
Also, where did he just get that rope that was already
you looking at me?
tied up and gagged?
That's a good point.
He's like, oh, there's a dude peeing. I'm just going to bring this rope with me just in case.
Yeah. And Jane at JSamp says, I'm pretty sure in the books, Jorah planned to take Tyrion to Dany. So there you go, 2 from 2
That
from what
sounds
I'm just seeing whilst flicking through on Twitter. Guys, thank you for tweeting in. Use that hashtag, The Night is Dark. And
if you're watching now, tweet in some questions now. The Night is Dark, hashtag The Night is Dark, and we'll try to answer some of your questions. Yes, Leo, we did go over
Vickers
the...
has got something to say.
There's a request for you guys to do a cosplay episode, by the way.
Hey, that's
Cosplay
pretty cool.
episode.
Dave Vickers, who's manning the chat room, said that there is a request to do an all cosplay episode. I've got Danny ready to go, guys. You've seen it as
Which
well.
one?
Season 4, Danny.
No, I know which one.
Oh, yeah.
Which version? Are you going to do season 5
The
cosplay,
Misa.
Danny?
What's she looking like? She's a little bit more flimsy. What's this dress happening?
What?
No.
What
From when?
Season? Oh, wannabe Danny.
Yeah.
Wannabe Danny,
No.
but
Daenerys.
Wow.
Contributor
There we go.
Megan Finley with
Dude, would
Daenerys.
you like the Daenerys cosplay?
Alrighty, so during the week, we also got you guys to send in some questions as well. There are some fun ones here. Let's talk about Kamar Lee, who wrote in saying, do you think the Targaryens were wargs and that's how they rode dragons?
No.
Neither.
No.
I would
It's not a bad
say
thought, but no.
that I think there could be potentially something in them that is warg-ish. Because from just watching Dany interact with the
That's fair.
dragons, she doesn't have
Magical.
control over them.
Okay,
They do
that's-
whatever they want.
From that point of view, I think I'll give you that point there.
So from TV perspective, I would say there might be something there. From book perspective, they're saying,
I mean,
Oh,
magic's
no,
a
no, I'm
thing.
not even saying from book perspective. I'm just saying from just the history book that you've read, the pictures and everything.
I mean, it's the blood of a dragon, and if that flows through you, then you
Yeah.
cannot get burnt. And
But
so
could the
someone
blood
can't
of the
get
dragon be wargish?
Yeah, I've checked. Okay, you might be you might be right. All seriousness, yeah, you might be a little bit right. That's why I
Maybe
think the
they can
Starks
only warg
kind
to
of.
dragons.
Well, that's why Starks with direwolves, they
Yeah.
can kind of, whether or not they're warging into their brains or not, the direwolves are kind of like, hey, dude, what's up? Yeah, we're on the same team.
Yeah. That's our sigil. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, why is it the sigil? Why did that happen?
Yeah.
Why did this particular
Right.
family connect with this particular animal?
Yeah.
And why have we not seen a lion at all ever in the flesh? Have we ever seen it? We've seen a bear in the bear fight. Have we
Yeah.
ever seen a lion?
No.
Not even roaming a field because it ain't Africa. But, like, if that's the House of Lion. Anyway.
Yeah. Sorry.
Lannister, huh? Got all your money? Pay for a lion? Anyway.
No.
Shane Clifford has said, is there any bit of Theon left in Reek? Is there a redemption story? It's cringeworthy for now.
It absolutely is. And that moment which I was waiting for, and I can't wait to see more of this. Sansa walks past him
And he's
at
like-
Winterfell, and he just hides. And that, for me, I was like, yep, Theon's still in there because he knows exactly who she is. He knows that her seeing him would be painful, and that they do have this history there because he was a part of their family.
I think he's hiding from her for him.
For his safety, yes.
I think that he's broken down to nothing. He's
Yeah.
finally got someone to kind of serve, and he's been so brain warped and completely messed around that he's serving with this Ramsay guy. I just think that if he draws attention to that, it can only disservice him.
Yeah.
Right.
So he's keeping that as a secret because he's just pathetic. I mean, he is. He's been poor thing. Like if you get tortured that much, that hard, you just lose a sense of self. So is there any of Theon left? Yes. But I think that Reek has become him in a big, big, big way. Who knows what will happen there?
I'm going to ask this one of you, Tiffany. Tyler Johnson asks,
Oh, boy.
do you think one of the dragons will die this season?
Where are my dragons?
No. I don't think any of the dragons will die this season. We haven't even seen them enough.
Drogon's gone.
Oh, what?
Pigeon, rat.
Pigeon. David is saying pigeon has been beheaded. Rat has been beheaded.
Dragon's got to get beheaded.
No!
Makes sense. All happens in threes.
I would be so upset if a dragon got beheaded. I just don't even think.
Who could behead that dragon?
Yeah, I don't even, physically, scientifically,
Yes.
I
Snow's
don't
getting really good at
understand how
beheading.
anyone could actually get to a point where they could kill a dragon. Unless maybe the White Walkers, I don't know what they can do. Maybe a giant.
That hobbit gun.
Maybe, the Hobbit gun. Yeah. Bard can do it. Maybe Benedict
Yeah.
Cumberbatch can come
Yeah.
in and do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got one in here from Christopher at Review Easy who says, who is going to betray who first, Littlefinger or Bolton?
That's a great question.
Isn't that fantastic?
Bolton for sure.
I think Bolton will try first,
Yeah.
but he'll do it wrong.
He'll fail. Yeah.
How will they betray each other, do you think? I mean, they're setting up their children together in a match. They're supposed to be mutually benefiting this.
Imagine those father-in-laws.
Imagine that wedding. You'd be like,
Yeah.
come on, come at me, bro. Who's got this?
We also don't really know what Littlefinger's ultimate game plan is. Like what his,
I mean,
his
it was to
ultimate
survive.
play.
It's never to
But
be a
it's
king.
not. It's
Well,
more
nah,
than
it's-
just
I
to
think
survive.
it's to get to
It was to
the-
get Catelyn.
I think it's to get to the throne in
Yeah.
a weird way. I don't think he believes he could sit up there at this point.
No.
But I think he wants that power. I think he wants to rule. He maybe wants to be in that Tywin position.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the whole conversation that he had with Varys, where they were talking about being in power, I think that's the part where I can't really decide what the betrayal will be, but I think that whatever happens, it will be to get Littlefinger ahead of Bolton.
Yeah.
Great question in here from Waterfast
Yeah.
2012.
You just saw that?
Sansa needs to watch her back around the Ramsay's psycho girlfriend. That was
Oh,
a death
yeah.
stare.
It was.
That was the only
So-
thing that Fire had in Winterfell. It was
All
her
of
stare.
those girls were his ladies. Yes?
This guy tortures people to thinking
Yeah.
that they worship him in the end. So
Yeah, the one, gosh, what is that
Daggers.
character's name? And because she's, it's a kind of like they did with Roz. It's kind of a character. Well, Roz was completely made up, but they taken a little morsel and make it into a bigger character.
Yeah.
Which is what I do like when the show does that. They do it very well. It opens up the
Yeah.
cracks of the story and that is, yeah, she is along the
she
ride
used to
with
just
Ramsay's
have violent
craziness.
sex with Ramsay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now she's like, who's this girl coming around, my man?
Oh, hell no.
Real Housewives of Winterfell.
Yeah.
Leo says, how many people will the dragons burn this season? We
How
want to put
many?
a number? Yeah.
Tiffany, how many do you think?
I'm gonna say 3.
Burning 3?
3 people?
Yeah.
I say that there's a sweeping, burning spew of
She said that
stone.
so cute, too. I think the dragon will kill 3
I'm wearing
people.
dragon pants. Look at
Fun.
my dragon pants.
You got dragon
One
pants?
burnt corpse.
Megan has dragon pants on?
Pants. I'm putting my foot in your face.
We've got a foot.
I got dragon pants on, so I say 3.
3 dragon.
3 dragon
I
pants.
think
dragon
like
deaths.
I'm going to say between like 30 and 70. I just see like I haven't read as far in the books as Ken has. I certainly haven't even finished this season yet in the book. But I just see an army marching and a dragon swooping and just letting loose with that
That was
fire.
my dragon fire
That was
sound.
great. And they're all like, and I'm like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 72. Hey.
It'd be like cinema sins. They're just counting them high.
Ding 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 ding.
Okay.
What did you guess, Ken?
I know the answer, so I don't get to play the game.
That's
You
true.
don't know. Oh.
One dollar, Bob.
Apparently Benedict Cumberbatch is a dragon. I knew it. Oh, he is a Smaug.
Yeah.
There you go. Fair call.
Carter
Yeah.
Zaran asks a very important question. Do you think that the High Sparrow could manipulate Cersei and have the Sparrows take over King's
No.
Landing? You don't
They're
think?
not about personal gain. They're about helping each other, first and foremost. Maybe that's the cover, but, you know, there's a lot of people dying or starved there, and he, you know, took the shoes off his own feet to help
I
someone.
think power isn't their drive, but equalizing is their drive.
Yeah.
Right.
And that might mean that they're going to topple some things
Okay.
as well.
I don't think they could overthrow it, though. I think it would end up being a mutually beneficial that Cersei might let them in to do stuff.
Are we playing?
What?
Yeah, Brad Thomas writes
playing.
in at 94 Brad Thomas. He asks me, so I'll have to answer too. If you could only marry one, who would you marry? Joffrey, Ramsay, or Robin Aaron? Hashtag the night is dark.
Would I want someone just being like in my ear the whole time? I think Ramsay's worse than Joffrey, but Robin couldn't even hurt any. Like, remember last week where he was like, Robin couldn't physically hurt you.
You're going Robin
But he would
Aaron?
just, he'd chew your ear off with his little bitch tears.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, I'd go Robin.
Foreplay might be awkward because he might think it's dinner.
Oh, gross.
I don't get it. Don't explain it to me though.
Reg Fest.
Just what he used to do with his mom. He used
Oh,
to get his dinner.
yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
You'd be
I'm
like,
right.
hey, come here, honey. Be like, I'm not hungry. You?
This is gonna be a weird one.
Yeah.
Kinky bitch. What is it?
I think that there is something left in Ramsay that could be good. So I would pick Ramsay. And I know we even said this yesterday.
Played a mother and child.
We talked about this during the show. That I was like, I think there is a chance that he is actually going to try with Sansa.
He turned Theon into a Ken doll.
This is why I love Tiffany, because she's like, no, guys, Cersei might be coming around. Ramsay, there's some good in him. He's like Darth Vader.
He flayed.
He's so pure of heart.
He's like Anakin.
He made a boy watch his parents' skin get flayed
Yeah.
off. I'm not sure who was dead.
All
but
because his dad didn't show him love.
That's right. You might be right.
Just saying.
You might be right.
I feel
so you're
nothing.
going
Just
Ramsay.
Just saying.
Robin, Aaron, Ramsay.
you get Joffrey.
Well,
Lucky you.
you know what?
did.
All right, fine.
You don't have to pick Joffrey.
No, it's fine. No, we'll do some kinky shit. It'll be all right.
He's
you would
very
not
dead.
pick Joffrey.
And it's kinky shit's already been done on him.
Yeah. Right.
Ew.
We're going to wrap up the questions really quickly, but I do like this one. We haven't seen Gendry in a while. So
Yeah.
Ben Drummond asked, will we see Gendry soon? Where's he headed?
Wait,
Gendry.
where did we last leave Gendry?
He-
On a boat.
on a boat.
Davos broke him out
yeah,
before he was about to
yeah,
get
yeah.
his throat slit and be a sacrificial
Yes.
lamb for Melisandre and the Lord
Yeah.
of Light.
I wouldn't be surprised if we saw him in like somewhere around the House of Black and White.
Oh, I like that.
You think
I think that'd
her?
be cool.
You think he ends up marrying Arya? Arya.
No, I don't think he ends up marrying Arya.
Hey,
I think but
if they would have,
she
they
would recognize him.
if
Yeah.
they would have done the deed, they would have by now because they're on the road together. But she was like,
she's a little young.
"Oh, I'm sorry, Tommen's just popped his Tommen seed at 9 years of
Yeah.
age."
But that was like for power. It wasn't just
What?
for
She's coming out
pleasure.
of my stick.
No. Oh my god. I don't know what just happened.
Sir Pounce, what's happening to me?
There's pussy everywhere. Okay, sorry. Matthew Picknett. Matthew Picknett says, do you think that Daenerys will open the fighting pits or keep refusing?
I think that she will probably after what happened. I think she will try and figure out a way to calm everyone and bring them back around to her side.
Mm-hmm.
And if Dario has any more convincing power over her, then that will be the thing.
But he does. Yeah.
But he does.
I think it's key to the heritage of Marine, and it's key to the people. And his door, Lozarak wants it back. And I think she's going to have to.
Okay. And Carter's around. This will be the last question. Thank you so much for tweeting in, though. And whatever doesn't get answered, it can roll over to the next show. So keep them salacious and nice and interesting. We've got one. He says, do you think that Reek Theon could find himself, kill Ramsay, and then join Littlefinger?
That's a multifaceted plot there. Let me look a little closer at that. Do you think Reek Theon?
At the moment, no. Theon's just a shell of a person. He can barely even pour a drink for.
Does Littlefinger know who he is? Did Littlefinger ever interact with Theon?
Everyone is.
He might know who he is, but he wouldn't know.
I mean,
he wouldn't have seen him. He's yet to see him because remember he hadn't seen Catelyn since he had left. Okay. And so all that happened after Littlefinger
would
left.
have been across the affairs of when they were trying to take the Iron. What is it? The Iron Isles were going to take over Winterfell. That betrayal?
No, you're talking about Balon's rebellion during that time.
No. I'm talking about recently. We know how Theon went back to try and
Mo Caelan. I'm talking about Mo Caelan.
Well, when he tried to capture, we captured Winterfell. And he was like, haha, psych, I don't like you, and they kind of burnt and raised Winterfell, and then that didn't last very long.
But Littlefinger wouldn't have seen that. Wouldn't have seen it.
Well, I know that Littlefinger was very aware of Ned Stark when Stark was Hand of the King.
Aware of him, but recognizing him.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah, especially because my name's
If he recognizes him, then I think, yes, Littlefinger will find a way to manipulate and use him. Mm-hmm. But if he doesn't recognize him, if there's no way he recognizes the face, then no.
Or the name, because the name's changed.
Right. But also, was the woman who welcomed Sansa back, was she there when her family was there?
She must have been in the original Winterfell.
Or was she just a North woman?
No, I think you would have to assume
because then she would recognize him. Because if she was there, then she would recognize him.
Right.
So
she would. Yeah.
I feel like the Boltons wouldn't want anyone in there that knows anyone.
I've got the guitar.
Are we getting played out?
We're getting played out right now. It's been a fun.
Look, if I had to rate this episode, I think it was a little bit more lackluster to what we are used to. I think we do get spoiled a lot of the time with gross deaths and with
There was a beheading.
There was a beheading, and there
finally
was some
got to see
flayed
Jaina
bodies.
Slint die.
Thank God, that was fun.
One of my least favorite characters. Yeah,
true. But I'm excited to see where the season's going, especially when I'm getting curveballs thrown left, right, and center because I didn't think this was happening. Sansa, especially.
I'll tell you, as a book reader, a map reader, a sticker book reader, a Wikipedia reader, I've read everything there can be about Game of Thrones. I don't know what's coming.
Yeah.
And as bitter as that can make me, it's also kind of damn exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think this episode for me was a little bit more exciting than last week's. So I really enjoyed it. I don't remember what score I gave it, but I would say this is probably like a 7.5.
There was more meat in this episode.
Definitely was a lot more meat. There was more character.
And I'm talking about the flayed meat hanging.
Yeah, and then the meat that they were eating in there as well. So,
Guys, thank you so much for watching live. If you have been joining us live and tweeting along, we are all on Twitter, I should say. I'm at Maude Garrett. We've got at Ken Napzok and at Tiffany's tweets. If you're only just kind of jumping in here and there, the good news is I can't talk because I haven't finished my drink yet.
The good news is you can watch the video of this podcast on Geek Bombshells on YouTube, and you can get the audio on the Napzok Files on iTunes, Stitcher, or Podomatic. And then on my YouTube channel, Tiffany M. Smith, you can find the bonus videos as well.
And this week's bonus video is?
This week's bonus video is going to be the most WTF moment or the most game-changing moment from each of us.
Cool. Great.
Are you guys ready for that?
Did you do the audio only as well?
We did. Napzok Files on iTunes.
I was finishing my drink.
Subscribe, rate, and review.
Yeah.
Yes, subscribe to our channels as well. Like the videos if you did enjoy it, and keep those questions coming in because we will be answering them in little segments and throughout the show each and every time.
Oh, and I got a very funny tweet in from someone about the Far, Far Away podcast. You know how I always end it? Open the blast doors, close the blast doors. They were like, can you do Open the moon door, close the moon door.
I want to then fly.
Make the guitar play.
Oh, look at that. That's just beautiful.
This is the night is dark.
Am I going to do my mac and cheese and hard apple cider version? Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you next week because the night is dark and
Full of terrors.
Yeah. Boy.